Okay, picture this. Two massive armies staring each other down across a valley. They're totally locked in this silent, terrifying stalemate. On one side, you have this super confident, mighty force, and on the other, an army that is absolutely paralyzed with fear. And the reason for all that fear comes down to one single man, a challenge so huge it's frozen an entire nation in its tracks. So, let's dive into how this completely impossible showdown actually happened.
So, the source of all this fear? It's a champion warrior named Goliath. And to really get why everyone was so terrified, you have to understand the sheer scale of this guy. He was over 9 feet tall. I mean, to put that into perspective, that's like a full head taller than the tallest person alive today. This wasn't just a big guy, he was a walking, talking impossibility on the battlefield. And every single morning, like clockwork, this giant would stride out, his armor just gleaming in the sun, and his voice would just boom across the valley. It was this daily ritual of intimidation with the exact same terrifying challenge. And every single day that challenge was met with nothing, just silence.
So, this brings us to the first part of our story, the challenge itself, and, the psychological gridlock that it created.
You've got to understand, this was way more than just a physical standoff. It was a psychological war. On one side, you've got the Philistines. They're feeling mighty, they're confident, they're yelling out challenges. And on the other side, the Israelites, terrified, shaken, and completely, utterly silent.
And this state of paralysis, it went on for days. Can you even imagine that? The same challenge, the same giant, the same gut-wrenching fear, day in and day out. The whole army was just frozen, totally convinced the defeat was a sure thing.
But right into the middle of all this fear walks someone who isn't even a soldier, and his arrival, well, it signals a massive shift in the story. The emergence of a completely unexpected volunteer.
So this young shepherd, David, he's only there to bring some food to his brothers, and he sees all this fear and basically asks, hey, why isn't anyone fighting this guy? And when he actually volunteers, this is the response he gets from his own king, King Saul. He only sees the physical reality, a shepherd boy versus a seasoned giant warrior. He's judging the whole thing based on what he can see, and by that logic, it's basically a death sentence.
But David's perspective? It's coming from somewhere else entirely. He immediately pushes back on the king's doubt, not with some empty bravado, but with a track record. See, he's faced crazy odds before, protecting his sheep from lions and bears. His strength, he argues, has never really come from his own size or skill. It's come from his faith, and he's absolutely certain it's not going to fail him now.
All right, so with the king's very reluctant permission, David gets ready for battle. And this is where the mismatch becomes, well, it's almost comical.
I mean, just look at this. This is where the whole story really comes into focus. On one side, you've got Goliath, decked out with the best military tech of the day. Sword, spear, shiny armor. His whole game is brute force. And on the other side, David. He refuses the armor, he chooses the tools he knows, the tools of a shepherd. A simple sling, 5 smooth stones from a stream, and his faith.
So as David walks out to meet him, Goliath he's genuinely insulted. He looks at this kid with his shepherd staff and his little sling, and he doesn't just see an opponent, he sees a complete joke. He sees it as total disrespect, and that contempt, it completely blinds him to any kind of real threat.
But David, standing his ground, just completely reframes the entire battle. He looks right past Goliath's physical weapons, the sword, the spear, and basically calls them irrelevant. See, in his mind, he's not fighting a physical battle. He's fighting on a whole different level, with a totally different kind of power.
And that's it. The speeches are over, the challenge has been accepted, the entire outcome of the war, the fate of 2 whole nations, it all now hinges on this one decisive moment.
The giant has had enough. He's done talking. He starts to move, just this mountain of armor and muscle lumbering forward, ready to end this ridiculous little standoff with a single blow.
But here's the shocker. The move nobody saw coming. David doesn't back up. He doesn't even stand his ground. He runs toward the danger. He closes the distance, turning Goliath's own size against him and seizing the initiative.
As he's running, he reaches into his bag, puts a stone in his sling, and just lets it fly. And in an instant, the whir of the sling is broken by a single, sharp, sickening sound. This stone hits Goliath right in the forehead, his one unprotected spot, and the impossible happens. The giant stumbles and then crashes to the ground. And for a moment, there is just stunned, absolute silence across the entire valley.
A shepherd boy just took down a giant. The impossible just happened. So, what does this legendary upset actually teach us about power, about courage, and about facing our own giants?
At its heart, the core lesson is a pretty simple but really powerful equation. The story proves that the things we can't always see or measure, things like courage, conviction, faith, are often way more powerful than the things we can, like physical size and raw strength.
So let's break down the key takeaways from this whole thing. First off, conviction itself can be a weapon. Second, underestimating your opponent is a fatal error. Goliath learned that the hard way. Third, the right tool is way more important than the biggest one. David chose a long-range precision weapon against a close combat brawler. And finally, and this one's huge, decisive action is the only thing that breaks the paralysis of fear. Which really leaves us with one final, crucial question. Look, the challenges we face, they might not be over 9 feet tall, but man, they can feel just as insurmountable. They can be obstacles in our careers, in our relationships, even in our own minds. So when you think about this story, it's worth asking yourself, what giant are you facing and what smooth stones do you already have in your pocket?